Digga, 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 doo. Digga, 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 doo. Okay, welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies. Hopefully this is turning out well for you. My computer's running a bit laggy right now. This is going to be a not comprehensive, but a decent kingdom management guide. So first off, you can see that we've acquired a few regions. If we look at the map, we have our capital, obviously the capital. We've also found it Having River Town, Elephant Head Lake Town, Goodrenuff, and Wifey Likes Riverwood. So those are some villages we've built. And to get right into things, let's first look at the Events tab. This is the most important screen of kingdom management, and the best place to manage your kingdom is obviously from your capital. So if you're on the capital in the world map or in the throne room, you'll be able to do more things. So first off, let's take a look at the events that we have going here. This is things that you've completed. This is things that you're working on, and this is things that have come up that you have yet to address. So if we look at the Braided Man here, you see that it's an opportunity. There's two types of events. There's opportunities. These are things that you can afford to pass up. They don't cause you any harm if you fail or if you don't address them. And the other kind is problems. So if we look, let's see here, Greedy Tax Collector is a problem. You see we've assigned a Jubilost to the task. You can see a description of what's going on, and then a description of how the minister aims to deal with the problem. And here it shows you when it ends. Here it shows you the difficulty class of the role you're going to have to succeed in order to beat this event. You can see what we're rolling here, a d20 plus 11, and that comes from Jubilost's skill at dealing with economic issues here. You can see a breakdown of that. As a character, Jubilost gets a plus 4. Right now our kingdom is worried, which gives us a -1, and the rank of our stat in the kingdom gives him a plus 8. As you can see here, economy is at rank 4 with 105 points. So, now is a good time to talk about stat ranks and points. As you rank up stats, you get bonuses to using that stat for dealing with issues and opportunities. And that's a +2 per rank, I think, is what you get there. And as the value goes up, you unlock the ability to perform an action that will rank up that stat. As it goes down, your kingdom suffers, and eventually your kingdom can be annihilated if certain stats reach 0. Pretty sure these ones here can destroy you, and then also stability. If it goes into 0 or negative, that will immediately end your kingdom, unless you turn on the Indestructible Kingdom feature, which is now in the options under, I believe, difficulty. Not sure on that one, though. Oh, and by the way, if we look again at this event, you can cancel it, but you can only do that on the first day that it was begun. So if you sign someone to something and then you're like, you know what, I'd rather have you do this, you can pull them off of that task. But for now, we'll have to wait 14 days for Jubilost to finish the task. Now if we look at things that are coming up here, if you have an issue that you haven't addressed yet, you only have until the 1st of the next month to deal with that issue. And this is kind of a lame feature, because as you can see, it's the 27th of Lamashan right now. That's the month of llamas, in case you wondered. Excuse me. Let's have some death in my lungs. And an event or a problem could pop up on the 28th or the 29th, even the 30th, giving you only a few days to assigned someone to the event before it's automatically failed. So that's a thing you need to keep in mind. So when it comes to deciding when to come in and take a look at events, it's absolutely essential that you're in your capital near the end of the month if you want to be able to see everything that's going to happen. So we have some people assigned to some things, and we're going to drop a quick save here because you roll your d20 at the end of the person's assignment. So you can reload an old save. You see this one ends in 4 days. If we wait for a few days, you can reload an old save to re-roll that one to make sure that it succeeds. So as long as you have a chance, and most of these are no higher than DC 21, this DC 21 is this DC 20 event here is going to be rather tough. So we'll find out if that can succeed. And you don't need all of your events to be successful, but some of them are really pivotal. So feel free to save scum your way out of trouble there. The random rolls for kingdom management, not my favorite feature of this game, because you have less power to affect those rolls than you would like. So having said that, keep in mind when your events are going to end, when people are going to complete their task, and then decide if you're going to save right before that's done and then reload. And you don't have to be in your capital in order to take a look at that, although you do need to be within the borders of your lands to be able to open up the kingdom management screen. So what else do I need to share with you guys? Let's talk a little bit about building. So if we go into our capital is a town now. There was a project that popped up a little while ago that allowed us to upgrade the status of our capital into a town as opposed to the village that it started at. And eventually we'll be able to turn it into a city. Perhaps more. So as we wait for this extremely long load time, my apologies. You can look at Amiri's really cool character profile. Okay, here we go. So, if we go into View, that's where we're in right now. If you click the Build tab, it opens up things that you're able to build, and you'll unlock the ability to construct certain buildings depending upon, as you see this one here, Nethys Library. That is a quest event. So it's related to some story stuff, but there's also things that are based upon your alignment, like this monolith here, which is available to, this one here, available to neutral characters. And also there's buildings that unlock based upon the tiles you have. You see we can build a lighthouse now because we have a lighthouse tile. Piers can only be built in a water tile, i.e. right here. Walls, you get the idea. And then building upgrades are unlocked when you upgrade the level of your settlement. So it starts out as a village. You can unlock a project to upgrade it to a town after a while. And I'm not sure if that's a time-based thing from the time that it was built or based on something else. Not quite sure. And then you can see what effect these buildings have. I really don't have time to give you a guide on how to build things, but I'm sure there's a guide based on that. But if we look at something like the school here, you see that it gives us a +1 to divine when it's next to a shrine, and +1 to military when it's next to a barracks. So we built a barracks next to it, and we built a shrine next to it. So now it gives us a +1 to divine and a +1 to military. Of course, those would be the stats over here. One thing to keep in mind, anything that gives you a bonus to stability is very useful, because stability is hard to come by, and it's also very important for your kingdom early on. And anything that gives you a bonus to economy, because that's going to increase the amount of BP you get. And here you see we have 330 BP. If we go to our stats, we get 41 BP per week. So at the beginning of every new week, we get that 41 BP, and that might not seem like a lot, but every little bit helps, because if you end up having to purchase BP, that gets expensive fairly quickly, which brings us into what in the heckums is BP anyway? Well, if you've been playing Pathfinder Kingmaker, you're probably familiar with this one. I think it stands for build points, and it's used for projects. It's used for building structures inside your settlements. It's used for founding settlements. It's used for claiming regions. It's all in all basically your ruler points. It's the point system that's used for just about everything you do here in kingdom management that has some kind of cost. Also, you can lose BP as the result of certain events or opportunities. So keep that in mind. It's good to have a cushion of BP, because if your BP goes negative, I've said that a lot so far, but if it goes negative, it can do some serious harm to your kingdom, and that's definitely a condition you don't want to remain in for any length of time. Okay, so that's been a bit of a look at building and using BP, and there's a whole lot to cover here, so that's kind of a large subject. But there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and because of the situation of my kingdom right now, I probably won't be able to show it to you directly immediately, but I did drop a quick save, so I can reload if I need to do some things. I want to show you how to establish a settlement. So if we go into regions, we can claim the Northern Gnarl Marches here, and as you see, you have to choose an advisor to assist you with that, and this is always successful, but it takes 14 days to solve. Now what does that mean? It means it's going to be next month before I finish this, so any opportunities or problems that have yet to be addressed are going to fail automatically. But let's go ahead and start the claim, and that's going to advance time, and fearsome monsters are terrorizing the stolen land. Delightful. So that happened a lot. That's why we save before we skip time. Always save before you skip time. And you're going to see a bunch of events pop up. We claimed the Northern Gnarl Marches here, so that's ours now. And if we go to events, a bunch of things happen. Forest Fade Disaster, that's delightful. Illicit Hunters Triumph, lovely. Tipping the Scales Disaster. So this is another reason we would reload an old save. That's a great one on the that. And the Tax Collector was a success. We lost loyalty, which is weird. Because Jubilost is a dick, that's why. But he did a lot for the economy, and people all want to see us. The legendary Scourge, the Bald Hilltop. So, more problems on Bald Hilltop. Everybody wants to see us, but that's not what I wanted to show you today. I want to show you how to found a settlement. So if you look, we have 190 BP right now, and our kingdom has suffered greatly by our absence. So this would be a case where I would actually reload that old save and not skip time because some serious events popped up. So when it comes to building a settlement, you build one wherever you want to. The location does matter. So if I built one in the forest here, I would not have access to a river tile. But again, obviously build one on a river, you get a river tile, and those can be helpful. So let's go ahead and build one on the river here, and we'll just name this Tutorialville, and we'll build that. It says it costs 50 BP to establish the settlement, so we're down to 140, and we click in here, and you see how we did that, right? There were little flags showing up where we can found a settlement, and we put a name on it, and we built it. Now we can enter the settlement, and you use the build menu as before, only now it's going to be a bunch of empty spaces, and you just decide what you're going to point down. And again, there's a ton of things that you can choose from to place, and what you place them next to does matter. But first off, Well, let's just place a few things down. So a wooden wall is always a good thing. You always get a wall slot on your settlement, so placing down a wall is a good idea. It adds to the stability, and it also affects the watchtower. So if we look at watchtower, it gives us +1 espionage, which is that hammer and anvil, and it says tall structure, +1 to military when it's in a settlement with a barracks, +1 to stability when it's in a settlement with walls, and it can only be built in a separate slot. So this is a separate slot, as is this one, and this is a dual separate slot. So if you have something that takes up 2 spaces and can only build in a separate spot, this is where to put that. The Mage's Tower would be one of those things. So let's place our watchtower down, and we do want a barracks as well. So how many BP do we have left? 80 BP it says there. Let's go ahead and place a barracks right here, and it gets a +1 stability when adjacent to a longhouse. So barracks and longhouse. Perfect, and that uses up all of our available BP. You see, these are under construction, and it'll be finished in 10 days for that one, 10 for that one. Yeah, 10 days. I don't know what the walls are going to take because I can't quite see it. 5 days. Okay, so this gives us a bit of stability and military power. You really do want to also build things that increase your economy, and basically any stat you want to boost, build buildings in your settlements that will boost that stat. So that's just a really quick, simple guide to kingdom management. The main things to take away from this is always be able to manage your kingdom at the end of the month. You need to be there to make sure that everything gets dealt with that needs to be. It's the most essential time to be there. At the beginning of the month, it might be helpful to stick around for a few days just to see if anybody shows up needing to see you, because often people like hear the Magister asking for advice, and Harem is he wants to meet with me for something, and the Regent wants to see me. All of that stuff tends to happen at the beginning of the month. So show up by the end of the month, before the end of the month, to deal with any problems. So let's see, this one right here, the Legendary Scourge. This is a problem. You need to deal with that before the beginning of the new month, and assign people and save the game. And then if things go very badly, as they did for us there, reload, and you can have your people re-roll their ability checks on the day that they finish their task. So hopefully that helps you get through kingdom management. It can be a serious headache, but there's also some feeling of accomplishment to be had in pushing the boundaries of your empire and naming things after yourself or your beautiful horse Bucephalus, whichever you wish to do. And well, I guess that'll be it for today. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully more guides and gameplay coming up, as well as some War Thunder stuff, whatever I can find time to do. But you guys have a great day. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.